It wouldn't be enough just to say we have an Irish company. That's not going to fly. You need to have a substantial operation here.
Hello and welcome to the Gross Profit Podcast. My name is James Kennedy. I'm co-founder and CEO at procurementexpress.com. We take the hassle out of managing your company's purchasing with magical features. As you may have picked up from my accent, I'm based in Ireland. So we thought it would be interesting to talk a little bit about the opportunities for setting up an Irish company, even if you aren't based here. Every time I go abroad and I go to a finance meeting, people mention how tax advantageous it can be, the famous Google, Facebook, etc. setting up. But for everyday businesses, there are still opportunities, even if you're not Google and Facebook, to be a bit smarter about various opportunities that come up with registering as an Irish company. So I've invited along today someone I've known for probably more than 20 years, Eamon O'Sullivan from OSA Accountants, who specializes in helping foreign firms establish an Irish base for various reasons we're going to talk about today. So Eamon, thanks very much for coming along to the show. Maybe you could just introduce yourself to the listeners for those who don't already know you.
All right. So based in Dublin here. I'm an accountant with a fair amount of experience in helping SMEs, so small to medium-sized enterprises. We have then the systems to kind of come in behind someone that does start a company. We can do all their tax filings across all the headings. We get someone set up at the start, and then we just ensure that they're not getting mired down in the kind of 40 or 50 forms that need to be filed every year.
So what's driving foreign companies to look at Ireland in the first place? Why would you ever want to sign up for all this extra overhead, even if you can take it away from them?
In some instances, people are trading in Ireland, and they already have a business here, but they're working it by remote control. So they have a trading situation where they're moving goods in and out of the country, and they already have a set of Irish customers, or they have a routine of getting Irish customers. They come to Ireland, they have a list of these big corporates that use them. So they already have a business here. Say, for example, instead of generating the profits within a company based outside of Ireland, they can generate those profits and have them taxed here. The corporation tax here is 12.5% across the board. So a lot of countries have a favorable tax rate for smaller companies. So, for example, in France, that smaller corporation tax rate starts at 7%. That doesn't come out that often, but that's the reality of it. It's tiered, so it goes up. As your profits go up, the rate of corporation tax you pay goes up.
Progressive taxing is not what they call that.
Progressive, yeah. So, but anyway, long story short, people can generate profits here that they would... Right now, they're being taxed in France, they're being taxed in the UK, been taxed wherever. But in general, the corporate tax rate is higher than it is in Ireland. So that's one reason. The second reason sometimes is that, particularly for UK companies, if they're dealing with Ireland and they're moving goods in and out, then they have the hassle of getting through customs. Whereas if their goods were owned by an Irish company from the get-go, then the logistics of getting in and out of the country is easier. The customs charges are easier because Ireland remained in the EU, in the European Union, whereas, as we know, the UK didn't. So they're just practicalities.
Okay, so what I heard there in kind of tiers was, like, if I was sitting here listening to this, trying to figure out whether this is something I need to explore. Well, if I'm based in the UK, where I understand from April this year...
I don't believe there are tiers in the UK. It's not gradual. Everything is going to be at 25%.
Right. So 25% versus 12.5%, it's doubled more or less. And then if you have a trading relationship with Ireland, is that important? Or
yeah, I mean, it's not enough just to say, hey, I'd love to transfer profits into Ireland. So you need to have an actual business here. We haven't got great PR in the past. In this area, people that have read up about it will know the ins and outs of it, unless you have proper activities here. Just deciding I'm going to park some profits in Ireland is not going to cut the mustard. It wouldn't be enough just to say we have an Irish company. That's not going to fly. You need to have a substantial operation here. So it suits some people that already have a trading relationship within Ireland. They might have Irish customers, or they're in a position to sell goods and services out of an Irish office to EU customers, as a for example.
What about outside of the rest of the world? Let's say the US, since we're talking about these American companies that establish here, what level do you need to be at before it becomes a commercially viable thing to consider?
Well, I guess you've got to consider you're going to locate staff here, or you're going to hire people here. I mean, that's quite a commitment. Average salary is probably 40 to 50,000 euros a year. Plus, you've got to house these people, and put them in an office. The other costs, apart from the salary, are not huge, but you do have an exposure. You'd need to factor that into your calculations. So if you already sell into Europe, it can make sense to have someone here locally. And then once you have the money within the kind of overall organization or the group, then you can manage it from there.
Okay, so if I was, say, US company, I'm setting up, let's say, a sales team anyway in Europe to deal with EMEA. So let's say a couple of $100,000, maybe 100 or 200 grand to set up a minimal sales team in an office. Then you're doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Then it starts to become worthwhile, and then you compare that to your EBITDA, I guess, and what profit, what tax you're going to have viable there, and then you make your own decision. So if you're booking $500,000 up, I say, then you start to look at it. Maybe
we're helping a group of companies that are based out of the Middle East. They're not multinational; they're transnational in that they have a lot of standalone companies within this group based in the Middle East, and a lot of their courses are English speaking, and a lot of them are virtual. They have a physical college, but a lot of the courses they sell are virtual, and they're selling now into the UK from Ireland. And the reason they chose Ireland was for that reason, because the corporation tax here is half of what it is in the UK. It's still English speaking, same time zone, common law. So they're kind of happy enough.
Okay, and they wouldn't have substantial trade within Ireland, by the sounds of it.
No, they wouldn't. No. I mean, it's a startup. They already had trade from the UK with people that wanted to buy courses from the Middle East, but there was a lot of logistics in that. I think the perception of their customers is better that they're dealing with an Irish company. I think the time zone is certainly not a massive issue, but everyone's starting 2 hours late. So it's 11 a.m. in the Middle East, it's 9 a.m. in Ireland. So you've automatically restricted the people that will come to work for you, because who wants to work till 7 or 8 o'clock at night?
So, all right. So what I heard there was definitely if you're in the UK and trading with Ireland, maybe if you're transnational, not necessarily selling into Ireland, but it could be if you need staff here or somewhere in Europe anyway, then that can be worth looking at. What about the US if you're based in the US?
We're EU-based, English-speaking. We're the only English-speaking, where the main language is English currently within the EU. So if you're based in the US, you're going to locate a sales staff here, or just an office to manage your EU business. You may already have people, in stateside that are dedicated to the European side of or the EMEA, as you say. So why not have them physically here? You can book sales through here, and then you can remit those profits back to the mothership.
So let's talk about the B word, Brexit. So that's the tax side of things. But then if you're trading out of the UK, we're all familiar now with the range of new challenges. But we've heard of lots of Irish company or UK companies going to the Netherlands for finance, I think, and going to Ireland for tech generally. Or what are the situations where you may consider an Irish base to help you negotiate Brexit?
One of the reasons you could consider it is as a just kind of, for example, that we have one company who sells into the EU, European Union, but they're based in the UK. They're a UK company, true and true. But some of their goods never really leave the EU. They have EU customers like based in mainland Europe. They have EU suppliers, i.e. based in the European Union. So actually the transfer of goods happens, say, from Poland to France, and this particular company invoices those customers from an Irish-based company. And that makes sense for them because they don't have the customs palaver of, oh, you're a UK company, you're delivering goods from Poland to France, and you get put in the slow lane all the way. It's complicated then because the customs guys are looking at this, oh, it's a UK company, yeah. Whereas your Irish-based company, you're transferring goods from Poland to France. There are no customs situations there. There's no duty. It's all just, you can move your bits and pieces as you need to, and you can invoice out of Ireland.
So in that situation, say I'm in the UK, I'm obviously got a supplier in Portugal, let's say, and I'm just what they call in online terms drop shipping. I'm drop shipping it straight to Ireland. I can pay the Portuguese company, tell them to ship it straight to Ireland. And doesn't that fix the problem? If it physically comes back into the UK, or if you need it to come into the UK, is that where the problem is?
The issue is the title of those goods. From the minute it leaves the Portuguese supplier, the title of those goods is owned by a UK company.
Right.
And so you're sort of in the slow lane. So that's okay if you're dealing with a single package of, I don't know, business cards or magnetic tapes or coffee cups. But if you're dealing continuously, or say you have a container of coffee cups, when those goods cross the borders, they're owned by a UK company. So it appears to cause no end of problems. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So it doesn't matter that it's the UK, they never touched the UK physically. They're legally owned by, therefore, as Richard, my business partner, calls it, they're in the punishment queue. They're in the queue.
They appear to be, yeah. We have one transport company who have transferred the ownership of all their trucks to an Irish registered company. So they have Irish reg numbers on all their trucks now.
Right.
So they have a lot less hassle when they're moving around Europe.
Interesting. Okay, very good. All right, very good. All right, so the practicalities of doing all this, I guess, is your business, Eamon. But maybe if someone's listened to this and they're thinking, okay, maybe this is something we should consider for our business, because there's a ton of paperwork, right? You have to choose the right company type. You have to get it registered in Ireland, acquire an Irish business number, opening a bank account, regulatory compliance. There's a whole load of stuff. How do you make that easy for them, and how can they get in touch with you to talk about that?
It's Eamon O'Sullivan on LinkedIn. It's the company name is OSA McQuillan. So it's osamcquillan.ie. You can just have a look there. We have a fair amount of information already that you can have a look through. If you want to set up a call, just drop a quick email. I get the email straight off the website. So if you need to have a quick chat and just see if this is for you, we can probably give you a very quick steer. Just save yourself a lot of time. I mean, you can spend days, as you know, trawling through websites. You never know what the source of your information is. So whoever has written the material, do they have any practical experience in dealing with the problems that you're looking to solve?
It's probably just ChatGPT who's written it. So get it from a real human.
At the end of the day, you'll need someone that has experience with dealing with this anyway. So just save yourself a bit of time.
I always have this awkward piece where I go, well, that's all for now, folks. I'll see you next time out. Maybe I'll sign off by asking people to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this podcast. And I'll do my best to give you some ideas to make your business 1% better every week.